Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends. Like my father's come to pass, 7 years has gone so fast. Wake me up when September ends. Here comes the rain again, falling from the stars, drenched in my pain again, becoming who we are. As my memory rests, but never forgets what I lost. Wake me up when September ends. Like we did when spring began. Wake me up when September ends. Here comes the rain again, falling from the stars, drenched in my pain again, becoming who we are. As my memory rests, but never forgets what I lost. Wake me up when September Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September ends. Like my father's come to pass, 20 years has gone so fast. Wake me up when September
Hello. I can hear you now. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Radium Girls. We're all super excited that you guys were able to make it. And thank you to our virtual audience for joining on. It's going to be super fun, I promise. My name is Katie. I am the student director of Radium Girls. So we're going to get started here shortly. I just wanted to remind you guys of a few precautions and some things that we just go over at the beginning of every show. Obviously, due to COVID, this is our first really big in-person show, so just make sure you're social distancing to the best of your ability. Other than the group that you came with, that's obviously fine. Make sure you guys wear your masks at all times. You guys know all the good stuff, but please make sure you're trying your best. We have made it through this show COVID-free, so we're very lucky for that and all of our COVID precautions. Other than that, I just want to remind you guys that we are selling merch outside at the tables. There are some previous shirts from the previous shows. There's some charm bracelets, all that good stuff. We also do have our 50-50 raffle, and we will have Minute to Give It at the end of the show. For those of you that don't know what Minute to Give It is, I'll explain that at the end also. But other than that, thank you guys for coming, and I hope you guys enjoy the show.
So much light, daylight, all the time. And on sunny days, you almost felt like you were sitting outside. It was that bright.
That surprised you?
Well, it was a factory. I thought it'd be dark and dirty.
Why go to work there?
I was 15. It was time I paid my own way.
Pay your own way? What about school?
Oh, I didn't miss it much. The girls were all so nice, and the work wasn't hard. It wasn't factory work, really. It was more like art. Painting those dials, we were artists.
I'm not the one you should be talking to. Vaughn's is Shockey. He's the one you should be talking to.
Now, Arthur, you know he won't talk to us.
It was his process.
Tell me about the process, Arthur. You used the powder.
We used the powder. The girls mixed it in with an adhesive to make the paint. They were doing that when I got there. I didn't invent that.
But you knew about it?
We all knew about it. We just didn't know what it meant.
Irene?
In here.
Irene, what are you doing?
Shut the door.
Amalia's working inspection today.
Is that bad?
Not for us.
She's going to be sitting in this room all day by herself in the dark checking dials.
Poor thing.
Poor thing.
So we're giving her a little surprise.
Oh, like the Cheshire Cat.
Won't that make her mad?
Oh, let her get mad.
That's half the fun.
Well, I don't want to make her mad.
Oh, Grace, do you have to be that way about everything?
What way?
Your face. Put some on your face, Grace.
And it ain't like Amalia don't deserve it. She paints more dials than any girl on the floor and can't be bothered to talk to nobody either. You say, hey, Amalia, what's new? She just looks at you funny.
I don't think she can speak much English.
Wouldn't kill her to smile, would it?
She's coming.
Get the light.
Oops. Mrs. McNeil.
Paint in your faces! Have you gone off your minds?
It was just a joke.
Just a joke? A joke like that can lose a girl her job.
Now, Miss McNeil, I'm sure that it's not very necessary.
I don't tolerate no foolishness, Doctor.
Yeah, foolishness. Very good. Girls, this is Mr. Reader, my new vice president and your new company plant manager.
And I was just telling Mr. Reader what a fine bunch of girls we have here. Now he must think that I am halfway out of of my mind.
Mr. Reader, perhaps you have some words for the girls? Miss McNeil?
Well, girls, this paint you've been playing with, it's very expensive. It takes several tons of ore to produce a single gram of radium. That's a lot of work. Hard work for the men in the extraction plant. But they do this work gladly. Do you know why they work so hard? Why you work so hard? What you are all working for?
The war?
That's right. The war. Those dials you paint, girls, save lives. So our men out in the field can see in the dark. No mistaking what they see. So if you don't take the work seriously, well, then you're playing in the hands of the Kaiser. And we don't want that, do we?
Oh, no.
All right, back to work and leave the tomfoolery at home.
Mr. Reader, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I won't do nothing like this ever again.
Well, dear, just keep this in mind. If you do right by us, we'll do right by you.
May 17th, 1921. Nancy Jane Howland here for the New York Graphic. The New York Graphic's only girl reporter.
Jack Youngwood reporting for the New York Ledger, New York's first source for news.
Madame Marie Curie, eminent French scientist, embarks on whistle-stop tour of the United States.
First stop, New York City, as she is greeted by the enthusiastic crowd of well-wishers.
The High Priestess of Science is then headed for Washington to receive a gift of 1 gram of radium, valued at $100,000.
By the Marie Curie Radium Club, an association of over 100,000 American women.
Who each take an hour to support humanitarian research and radium.
Oh, Grace, over here.
Irene, look, I got my certificate. Member, Marie Curie Radium Club.
You gave $1?
It's all for science.
Oh, for science. What about my room and board?
There she is.
Madame Curie, what will you do with the radium? What will you do with the radium?
I will continue my experiments to find better methods for the treatment of the cancer.
Is radium a cure for all cancers?
A cure for the cancer? Yes, cure for the cancer, that is so. It is right cure all kinds of the cancer.
But some doctors dispute that.
Since they do not understand the method, there is no question. Radium will cure the cancer.
Madame Curie!
Madame Curie!
Madame Curie, how have you managed to devote your time both to science and to your children?
It has not been easy, but my daughters share my gratitude to the American women for their interest in science and my work. I am most grateful.
Madame Curie!
Madame Curie!
Madame Curie!
You see that, Charlie? That is a marketing opportunity. Let's send her one of our customers' watches, courtesy of the United States Radium Corporation. We'll need a press release. Radium isn't just for scientists to study. The average American can share its glory every night. Luminous watches, luminous clocks. Anyone who thinks these are just novelties, consider all the other advancements in the past 50 years. The electric light, the telegraph, the telephone, the automobile. All inventions once dismissed as novelties, as toys, are now essentials to modern life. Got it. How do I sell some watches? Watches, absolutely. But that's not where the growth is now, Charlie. You heard the lady. It's a medical market. And Standard Chemical owns it. Only because Vaughn's is shocking lets them have it. If we wanted to, we could take half their business. It's just a matter of positioning.
Standard Chemical publishes its own journal, sends it out monthly to 12,000 doctors. We could do something similar.
Something scholarly that the doctors would respect.
A bibliography listing every article ever published on radium.
But with the capsule reports, we could send it out to every doctor in the U.S. Radium Society.
Every doctor in the American Medical Association.
That's it, Charlie. Promotion. It's the wave of the future. It's not just the product. It's the way you promote it.
You should have seen it, Grace. The church was filled with flowers. Lilies and carnations and orchids. You know how Amalia loved orchids.
Those weren't orchids.
They were orchids, Irene.
Flags.
Orchids. I know an orchid when I see one. Purple orchids. Oh, and that smell. Grace, that smell. What was that smell? It was like
Flowers?
No, it was like heaven. I was going to say it was like heaven.
Like heaven? It was just a funeral. You make it out like it was some big Valentino picture.
It wasn't just a funeral. It was Amalia's, and it was beautiful. You should have seen it. The church was like the botanical gardens, and the company sent a big spray of flowers, too. Carnations.
Mums.
Yellow carnations.
Those were mums.
Well, it sounds like a nice service anyhow.
Boys, girls, the whistle is already gone. Now then, I have received new instructions this day. We're going back to the old way of pointing the brushes. We was losing too much paint in the cloth.
But...
Yes, Grace? Something you wish to say?
Dr. Von Sashaki told me not to do that. He said it's unsanitary.
Unsanitary? Well, I can hardly believe he'd say such a thing. We've been doing this as long as I've been here. You must have misunderstood him.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're not to get new brushes until you've done with the old. And they have got to be so bad that they can't get a point no more. You can't make quota like that. Well, you will do your best then, since I have my instructions.
I need a new brush.
It's not for us to be asking questions, is it? It is for us to do our work. I have my instructions, girls! I have my instructions!
Here's an instruction for you, McNeil. Let some starch out of your corset.
Was she at the service?
McNeil? Are you kidding? You think she'd cross the street for her own mother?
Most everyone else was, though. You was about the only girl from the floor who wasn't there.
I wanted to come, but Ma was working, and I had to watch little ones.
You could have brought them.
All 7?
Well, if it was me, I'd have tried to get there.
Just lay off. Grace feels bad as it is.
Were many of the fellas there?
Oh, yeah, lots of the fellas from downstairs. Mr. Roth from the front office, Dr. Von Sashaki was there, and Mr. Reeder.
And he left early.
So, he was there all the same. Ooh, and Grace, you know that fella from Crystallizing? What's his name? The one with the red hair? He was there. Do you know who I mean?
Oh, yeah. The one fellow with the freckles.
That's the one who snaps his fingers all the time?
George.
Jerry.
I think it is George.
It's Jerry. Jerry Mallon. He was the one who was always talking to Amalia in the day room.
Oh, that's right. Ooh, and Grace, when the mass was over, he goes over to the coffin and he goes like this he goes.
No.
Yes?
Really? Really? Oh, for pity's sake.
Well, he did. Nobody could believe it.
So what if he did?
So what? He was in love with her. That's so what. Don't you think, Grace?
I guess he had to be. If he did that.
And can you imagine? Can you imagine if he loved her and he never told her? Never could bring himself to say because she was so beautiful and he was so shy? And now it's too late. It's too late. Their love is forever gone. He didn't tell her and he'll never get a chance ever again.
Poor Amalia.
Poor Amalia.
Poor kid.
Her family took it awful bad, Grace. Albina, Kinta, everybody. Every one of them crying. Even her father crying so bad. I never saw a man cry before, and not like that. Just bawling like a baby.
And you know why, too?
Because their daughter had died.
What she died from?
Irene! Don't go spreading stories.
It isn't a story. Albina told us herself. No reason Grace shouldn't know.
Know what? Know what? Amalia?
Ain't it awful? Albina said her father's fit to be tied, too. 6 girls at home and ain't none of them ever gonna dance again.
Oh, because Amalia up and died from syphilis. I can't help it if that's what she died from.
You don't know that for sure.
It's on the death certificate.
Anemia and complications from syphilis.
Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe they got it wrong.
Oh, come on.
They could have got it wrong. Doctors are wrong sometimes.
That's true. Doctor was wrong about Aunt Ivy.
What's Mama got to do with this?
Irene, don't you remember? Up to the day she died, Doctor said Aunt Ivy would be fine. Said, take a cup of tea, get a good night's rest, and 2 days later we was taking her to Rosedale Cemetery.
Girls, your attention please. The gentlemen are here to make an announcement.
Thank you, Miss McNeil. We are here to put a few rumors to rest.
And to explain some changes, yeah?
As some of you may have heard by now, Dr. Von Tashaki stepping down, and he'd like to take this opportunity to
Make with the goodbye, and Mr. Reader has kindly consented. Some of you I have known since during the war, coming here to the bench every single day, working so hard, 200, 300, some of them even $500 a day, in these companies that I made in my own kitchen, while mixing up the paint. When I first found the radium, I knew I found something miraculous to make life easier, better. And what have I found? More and more uses for the radium every day. More than I ever dreamed possible.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor. As the doctor's a very busy man, we'll leave you to your work.
And Mr. Reader, let us give congratulations to you as he steps up to the plate as your new company president.
Yes, thank you.
When Mr. Reader first came to the company 4 years ago, I saw him as a man of great enterprise.
Yes, thank you.
And great ambition.
Yes, thank you.
Little did I know where that ambition would take him, but that is what makes this country so great. The opportunity gives a man and his friends.
And so, girls.
And so, ladies, let us wish Mr. Reader the best in the way he wishes the company to take.
A new way?
With the slowdown in dial painting.
What the doctor is referring to is some of our larger customers are setting up their own dial painting studios. We were planning on making an announcement next week. We'll make it now, Miss McNeil.
Well, we'll be asking some of you girls to go on down there.
The work is supervisory in nature, which means more money. You have some girls in mind, Miss McNeil?
Louise Conlon was one, Sarah Deutsch, Lena McCarthy, and, Catherine Schaub. I have the entire list downstairs. I'll post it later today.
Fine. As we're on the clock, we'll leave you to your work. Okay.
And ladies, my best wishes to you all.
And now that it's back to work with you girls.
You gonna do it, Catherine? You gonna take that job?
Would you, Grace? Would you go to Connecticut?
Well, I don't know. It's awful far from home, and Tommy would have a fit.
Oh, come on, Grace. It'd be fun. Wouldn't it be fun, Irene? Irene?
Irene, honey, you all right?
Huh? Yeah. I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be? What?
Your mouth is bleeding.
$35 a week, and she quits the place.
More to life than money.
That's what you say when you're young, Tom. But you get to be my age with a house full of your kids under your foot. You will be thanking God for every penny you put by.
You know money put by.
How much? It doesn't take much to get married on. Do you have enough money to stay married on?
You still eating, Tommy? You're going to get fat.
keep up his strength. He works hard for his money.
Don't start, Mom.
Oh, I didn't say nothing. It was your father who hit the roof over it.
He didn't hit the roof.
Oh, you should have seen the look on that man's face, Tom, when he heard Grace wasn't working no more. Oh, I mean, most girls would give their eye teeth for a job like that. Good pay, easy work, nice-looking fellas walking around that plant.
Tell me about them, Grace.
Wasn't that many of them. Hardly seem worth the mention.
And she gives it away for reasons unknown. I don't like it up there, she says. What's not to like? You don't like the paycheck? I says. I don't need no paycheck, she says. I got a boyfriend to take me out on Saturdays.
She said that?
You know I didn't. And for your information, I got a job. I start at the bank on Monday.
Oh, yeah. The bank, and what's that pay?
Enough.
Enough. It's always enough. You know what that means, Tom? It don't pay nearly as much as it did up at that radium plant.
It's office work.
Office work, huh? I guess that means you'll be spending more money on clothes then.
Boy, she is really steamed to you.
Don't make a difference to me as long as I'm working somewhere.
Makes no difference to me. I just thought you liked it up there.
Sure, I liked it. I worked there for 4 years.
Well, I've been delivering mail almost 8 years. I plan to keep on delivering mail another 20 or 30 years. Nothing like good work and a steady pension to help you sleep at night.
I don't have a pension and I sleep just fine.
But you do. How come you quit, Grace?
Lots of girls are quitting. And ever since Irene left, it's just not been as much fun. Besides, wouldn't you rather have a girlfriend that works at a bank?
Not as much as I'd like a wife who don't work anywhere.
Close your eyes. I got a surprise for you.
Yeah, want for me to pull the shade?
Not that kind of surprise. Close your eyes. Now look.
Wallpaper.
For the baby's
The
room.
baby's room? You won't kiss me and you're talking about baby?
Babies will happen eventually, Tommy.
No, Grace. Most girls, they get married before they decorate the nursery.
Plan ahead for once. Pick one.
Is this some kind of test?
No, it's just wallpaper.
Is this some kind of test?
Pick one, Tommy.
Well, that one.
Really?
The other one then.
But which do you like?
They're both nice.
No. This one has big flowers, and this one has little flowers. So pick one.
Which do you like?
This one is pretty, don't you think?
That one then.
But I want you to like it too.
If you like it, I'll like it. Wallpaper's wallpaper.
No, it isn't. You gotta pick something you can stand to look at for 20 years.
Same way you pick women?
Keep it up, smarty pants, and you'll never get that kiss.
All right, this one. This one hands down.
I like it too. A nice neutral yellow goes with either a boy or a girl. And until the baby comes, we can use the room for other things.
Yeah, like what?
A painting studio, maybe?
You didn't get enough of painting at work?
Not the kind I wanted to do, Tommy. At school, I used to paint watercolors. And ever since I went to work, I just haven't had much time. With watching the kids and helping Ma. When we get married, I just want some time. Some time to myself. To paint watercolors. Or oils. Or maybe portraits in oils. I could paint your picture if you like.
Well, sure. Paint a big picture of me. We'll hang it in the outhouse. All our friends will come right and use the cans so they can look at it.
The way you talk sometimes.
If you want to paint pictures, I ain't going to stop you.
You say that now, but when we're married, you'll change your tune.
I'll be listening to it.
Just wait. Or you'll come home one night, all wore out. Maybe some Christmas, when all the customers on your route have had 3 times the mail. And some dog took after you. And some old lady kept you waiting on her stoop, telling you all about her grandchildren. And you just didn't have the heart to tell her you couldn't talk. I know you. So you come home, all wore out and cranky, besides hungry wanting your dinner, and there I am, with my easel set up in the kitchen, drop cloth on the floor, and paints all over the table. What would you say then?
Better be a picture of me you're painting.
I know what you'd say. Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say. Where's my dinner?
You know, Grace, I still admire the painting. I just want to look at it on a full stomach is all. How'd I do? Pick the right wallpaper?
I don't know. I might look at the stripes.
Stripes, polka dots, I don't care. Let's just get married. You're plenty old enough. Tell your mom we ain't waiting no more. We'll just run off.
Tommy, we're not running off. We're going to do it right. A nice church wedding with flowers and music. And then a week at the seashore, just us. And then we'll set up in our own place. You'll see it'll be worth the wait.
Oh, your mouth hurt you?
Yeah. The dentist wants to pull another tooth in the back.
Well, what's the tooth?
Gentlemen, we have a new problem. Hazel Kusser, any connection to the others?
Only by virtue of employment.
Except she's got a good lawyer.
Knows how to write a good letter anyway. Not lawyer.
And she no longer works here?
Left 6 months ago.
This makes 4 now.
3.
4 if you count the magic girl.
I wouldn't include her.
She worked here.
She also worked other places. And where she died from, you couldn't pick up here. At least I don't think you can.
That's not funny, Charlie. Besides, that's just idle talk.
In my experience, there's usually something to the idle talk when it comes to girls like that.
From a large family, wasn't she?
Italians. The conditions they lived in, 10, 12 people in 3 rooms. Probably they'll all die of one infection or another.
3 then. How many dead?
Only the magic girl, but I haven't heard from her people yet.
It's too late for them anyways. The statute of limitations kicks in after 2 years. But Miss Kusser is a different story. She's in a position to make some trouble now.
We're talking about 4 girls out of how many hundreds you've employed here?
500, 600 over the years.
Well, some of them were sick when they got here. One girl you had was a complete cripple. Couldn't even walk up the stairs. Her father had to carry her up to the studio every morning.
It didn't matter to me how she got up those stairs. She was a fast worker and a very sweet little girl.
But she was in poor health.
She needed the work.
Arthur! Charlie!
And not just for the money, Charlie. To feel productive, to have a purpose. That's what work does. It gives us a purpose. I don't see any reason why we should stop hiring girls like that.
When they get sick and try to blame us for it, you might want to rethink that policy.
Let's see what Dr. Drinker has to say.
Dr. Drinker?
Some professor at the Harvard School of Industrial Hygiene.
He chairs the department, and he decided to look at our operations.
Don't you think we're jumping the gun a bit, hiring him?
These girls are terrified. We've got to do something to calm them.
Letting Dr. Drinker examine them? Sounds to me like a recipe for mass hysteria.
We'll say it's a routine physical. Edward?
Companies give physicals all the time.
Then Drinker will start next month.
In the meantime, I suggest we make an offer to Miss Kusser.
Settle?
There's no proof that her problems are connected to us.
Believe me, if she sues, you won't like the attention it brings, and neither will your investors.
You're worried about the stock offering?
Aren't you? Great. We'll open at 30 and close at 10.
Or maybe not open at all.
Unless we give this girl something that could keep her quiet?
That could be a condition of the settlement.
Maybe we better do it.
How about this? We have him talk to those girls, convince them into making suits, and then we reward him for his larceny.
Unless Miss Kusser genuinely believes she got sick here.
It could be like Charlie said. She comes from a large immigrant family. Not well educated. Not a lot of resources.
$200 can make a big difference to a girl like that.
Pay some medical bills, buy some medicine. And, by the sound of that letter, I don't think the girl has long to live anyways.
So, it'd be a gesture of decency then.
Exactly.
How much should we offer?
March 24th, 1924, Jack Youngman reporting for the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Hammond here for the New York Graphics only girl reporter.
Could radium water pose a cure for crippling arthritis? Scientific studies suggest a connection.
Dateline, Orange, New Jersey, radium water products offer miracle cure for crippling arthritis.
Some patients reported a significant abatement in the symptoms.
Miss Jeremy Michaels of the Bronx tells of her story of how radium water transformed her life.
My pain was so bad I could hardly bend over.
While others reported only mild relief.
This poor brave woman couldn't even bend down to kiss the little ones goodnight.
And I got 3, let me tell you, they're a handful.
Dr. Harrison Marwin, Chief Medical Examiner for Essex County, commented on the study. Your recommendations, Dr. Martland?
Then Miss Michaels tried Radar 4.
They said it helped my rheumatism, so I drank a bottle a day for a month. Wasn't cheap, but I was desperate. Well, first off, it felt like a bolt of lightning had hit me. It was that powerful. And now I drink a bottle a week just to maintain my health. And I scrub the kitchen and hang the laundry same way I've always done.
Dr. William J. Bailey of Orange, inventor of Radithor, reports strong demand for his product.
Dr. William J. A. Bailey of Orange announces sales of Radithor exceed over 100,000 cases worldwide.
Radioactivity is the most remarkable agent in medical science. I drink Radithor myself, and I can vouch for its power.
At $1 a bottle?
Worth every penny.
Yes, indeed. I myself was a picture of lethargy before I discovered the amazing, vitalizing qualities of radium water. Now look at me. I'm nearly 50 years old, and I have the power of a man in his 30s.
You certainly look like a man in his 30s.
Well, thanks.
A testament to its potency?
Radithor, it's perpetual sunshine.
And a perpetual money machine for its investor.
Is there no end to what science can do? Need no appointment for this. Anything in their shop?
No, it's under Rudolph.
Rudolph?
The girl I'm asking about, Irene Rudolph?
Did she file a complaint?
No, the dentist did.
The dentist?
Dr. Neff, Irene's dentist? He said she might have Fossey Jaw and he was going to complain to the health department about it. But when I asked him, he said he hadn't heard nothing and it's been more than 6 months now.
Fossey Jaw, you say?
Yes!
Catherine, it could have been like your doctor said. A blood infection.
But what gave it to her? That's the thing. What was it from?
From dirt. You get infections from dirt.
From dirt? Her face popped up like a pumpkin. Her jaw rotted so bad she couldn't eat nothing. You think you get something like that from little dirt? You get it from phosphorus. They're telling everybody it's radium in that paint, but it's really the phosphorus that makes it glow.
Oh, honestly, Catherine, you can't really believe that.
You saw her, Grace.
Catherine, if it was like you'd say, they'd have never let you work up there in the first place.
Sure. They'd have shut the place down.
Shut it down? Who? Who's gonna shut it down?
I don't know. The county?
Oh, honestly, Grace, you're such a ninny.
Hey.
How are they gonna shut it down if they don't even know about it? Ever think of that?
Come on now.
It's all right, Tommy.
No, she got no business talking to you that way.
She's just upset.
Upset? She's probably gone around the bin. She thinks they're dumping arsenic in the drinking water. Next, they're going to be kidnapping babies and using them to stoke the furnace.
Go ahead and laugh. You won't laugh so hard when it's you coming in here 6 months from now asking after Grace.
Catherine, it's just a toothache.
Yeah, that's how it started for Irene. Just a toothache. You wait, Grace, you wait. You'll wake one morning, your gums hurting so bad you won't be able to open your mouth. So weak and sick, you won't be able to stand up. The pain's so bad you won't be able to sleep. Your face so swollen you won't be able to stand the sight of yourself.
Grace is fine. Right, Gracie?
Irene Rudolph?
That's it.
And she worked at the radium plant?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing.
Huh?
It says that the company is in full compliance with all state health and labor
Let
regulations.
me see that.
Miss, really?
Who's Miss Young?
She's the health officer, Miss!
Paint is a harmless compound of radium and zinc?
Yes, and as I was saying, the analysis shows that there's no phosphorus in the paint. There's no phosphorus anywhere in the plant.
There. You see, Catherine?
And Miss Young toured the facility herself, and she found nothing amiss. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna file another
They
complaint.
already did an investigation.
I'm gonna file another complaint.
Brother.
Catherine, these folks, they're awful busy.
I want to file another complaint.
I just don't see what good this is going to do, Catherine. You're making such a fuss this way.
Grace, 3 surgeries, and they wanted to cut her again. She finally said no. She knew. What was left of her jaw rotted so bad, the smell was terrible. And Grace, the worst part of it is, I couldn't even look at her. Irene was so afraid of being alone, and I left her alone. When she died, it was in the middle of the night, and nobody was with her.
I'm sorry. Can I have another form? My friend would like to file another complaint.
Another complaint? Is the girl still sick?
No. She died.
Oh, you wait right here.
Harriet? Harriet, you'll come down from that tree at once!
I'm waiting for Papa.
Fine, when he gets here, I'll send him up after you.
There he is! Papa! Papa!
Harriet!
Harriet, once!
Papa, I can see clear to the church.
Can you? Do you see your grandfather?
No, but I can see the schoolhouse.
You think this is funny?
She's enjoying herself. Harriet! Tell you what, if she has no one to shout to, she won't shout.
They can hear her all over the neighborhood.
Can they?
When she comes out, I want you to speak to her.
She's 9 years old, Diane.
I'm trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
Time is on your side. In another year or two, she'll lose all interest with trees and develop a fascination with boys.
That's supposed to scare me.
And when that day comes, you'll be frantic, because she'll no longer want to climb trees.
What's this?
Something to give you vitality.
You think I need vitality?
It's what it says on the bottle.
Is it pure?
We're his supplier. Want to try some?
Suppose if it'll give me vitality, how could I refuse? Your father came by to see me today.
Another hard luck case?
4 children in the household, all under the age of 6.
And let me guess, mother in the hospital with cancer.
Yes.
And the husband's been laid off from, let's see, the brickyard.
Yes.
Through no fault of his own.
How did you know?
Dad was around to see me the other day. It's never enough with him, just to have ordinary ambitions. You have to have a mission in life.
And you do.
No, I have a business plan.
You can't tell me you wouldn't help this man if you could.
If I could, but I can't give him a job that doesn't exist.
What about Dan Lehman?
Dan?
Maybe he could use some help.
In the laboratory? Dan needs trained technicians, not some bricklayer. Don't you women have a club for this sort of thing?
You mean the Women's Club Civics Committee?
Right.
We take interest in such cases, yes, but we're not an employment service either, which is why I thought you could help.
Oh? Do you love being married to the company president?
It has its advantages.
Ever think of trading it in?
Do you?
I got my shoes shined this morning. I sat there and I watched the kid work, and I thought, this is quite an enterprise. The work comes in, the work goes out. No inventory, no warehouse, no health inspector, no stockholders.
And you trade it all in for your own shoe shine stand.
Fewer headaches that way.
So you're in one of those moods again. What is it this time? It can't be the market. It went up today.
Now you're reading the financial pages?
I have to entertain myself somehow. So what happened today? You're being very strange.
Am I? I'm sorry.
You can tell me, you know?
There's nothing to tell, really. This is going to be our best year yet.
So it's the prospect of success you find so disheartening.
I'll get my checkbook.
What for?
That bricklayer of yours.
Artie, he needs a job, not charity. What is it your father says? A working man needs to work.
It wears on his soul not to work. Well, if it's a matter of his soul, that's different. I'll talk to Dan.
Artie.
No promises.
No promises.
To your health.
So how long you had this drainage?
About a week or two. Hurt something awful, Dr. Neff.
Anything else bothering you?
My back hurts some too.
Your back now? You seen your regular doctor?
He says it's nerves.
Nerves?
About my wedding and all.
This ain't no case of nerves. I hope you told him that.
What do you think?
I think you better schedule that surgery.
Couldn't we put it off a little? Till after my wedding?
You don't have this surgery, you won't have no wedding.
Huh?
Miss Fry, I want you to listen to me. Your jawbone is decaying. That's the black pus oozing out of your gums. That's the bone itself.
That's impossible.
To Mr. Arthur Reeder, U.S. Radium Corporation. From Dr. Cecil Drinker, Harvard University. Enclosed is our report.
Finally.
We believe the trouble in your plant is due to the radium.
Radium?
Everything I got, I saved for my wedding.
You put off the surgery and you'll develop a septic condition. It could be fatal.
The blood changes in your employees can be explained on no other grounds.
Well, I got a suggestion for you.
It's a mistake.
Go to the plant and explain your situation.
Go to the company?
Photographic films carried by employees show heavy fogging.
Once they see what kind of shape you're in,
We suspect high levels of gamma radiation throughout the plant.
I don't see how they could refuse.
We realize no proof can be given at present.
He's wrong. He's got to be.
Look, if you want, I'll write to him for you. They'll just work through me, pay my bills directly.
But in review of the material in the literature...
You think they'd do that?
Well, they got a moral obligation, don't you think?
In the facts this goes by our investigation.
Look, if you want, we'll do it right now. I'll get some more paper.
We suggest immediate and drastic remedial action.
Charlie! He's wrong. He's got to be. It's a mistake. He's wrong. He's got to be.
He must have overlooked something.
If it's a new alignment caused by the radium, it should occur generally throughout the plant.
One would expect.
Several hundred milligrams in ore in big vats at all times. Several hundred milligrams in solution. Several hundred milligrams in crystallizing.
The entire backyard is filled with tailings.
Radium is present in good amounts throughout the plant.
If it's the radium, then the incidence of illness should be highest in the laboratory.
And no one there is sick.
Then perhaps it's some combination of the radium with the zinc.
Or something peculiar in our plants alone.
Some sort of bacteria, perhaps, in the brushes?
There are dozens of application plants throughout the country, and no one has reported anything like this.
The Department of Labor wants to see the report.
Yes, I'm aware.
What are we going to do? This wipes us out. What do we say to them?
They want to see the report. We'll send them this.
1 page?
The most important page.
Drinker will never stand for this.
Drinker works for us, and this is a proprietary report. What we do with it is our business.
But the Department of Labor, Arthur.
We just need a bit of time. Just a bit of time.
They could shut us down for this.
Scientists, government men, they have no idea what it is. Rocky thought advertising was a dirty word. You don't know how many times I walked into that man's office, and he turned a deaf ear to everything I told him. But we showed him, Charlie. We showed him. Now we're the world's single largest supplier of radium. Do you know what it took for us to get here? You think I'm just going to stand idly by and let our good name be dragged through the mud? Trust me, Charlie. We just need a bit of time.
It's awful nice of you to come all this way.
Not at all, my dear. Not at all.
I told my surgeon you was coming over, so he gave me the results of my blood work.
Excellent.
And so...
I must say, Miss Fryer, your blood looks better than mine.
It does?
That's what happens to an old man who smokes. Now tell me, what else is troubling you?
My back and feet mostly. I've had to wear a brace for a while.
So I see. And this started before you left the company, or after?
After I left. Dr. Ness says this all has to do with something with the radium plant. I knew a girl from work who might have died from it. Irene Rudolph?
Oh, yes, terrible thing. Vincent's angina.
What's that?
That is an ulcerated condition of the mouth, my dear.
From the radium?
No. It is an unfortunate and rare result of poor dental care. So let this be a lesson to you. Always brush your teeth.
There was something else about this in the paper. About other girls who got sick. One girl who I worked with for a while, she's in the hospital in New York. And the doctors don't know what to do. They say they never seen anything like it.
Don't tell me you pay any attention to the papers. Those stories are not scientific.
But...
Reporters are not scientific. They do not follow scientific methods. They're right to sell, not to educate. The scientist is not concerned with what sells. He's concerned with the truth. He undertakes years of painstaking study to arrive at an understanding of intricate, natural processes that most people could never presume to comprehend. You do well to listen to science and ignore the nonsense that's printed in the newspapers. Because I can tell you right now, radium has nothing to do with what's ailing you.
Then what is ailing me?
Poor diet, Miss Fryer, poor diet. You must eat more fresh fruit.
Hard to do in the winter.
And raw meat as well. Raw calf's liver particularly. Cook it if you must, but eat it twice a week at a minimum. No, Miss Fryer. I am a scientist, and I take a purely scientific interest in this situation. By allowing me to examine you, you are helping me advance my own studies. I thank you.
Okay, Dr. Flynn. Thanks.
Call me anytime, day or night.
Dr. Frederick Flynn, PhD, Physiology, Columbia University. PhD? That's not a real doctor!
He's seen half a dozen girls used to work at the plant. Word I hear he's working for the company.
And I let that fella examine me!
I never examined her per se. It was not a medical examination per se.
Nevertheless, you were able to offer her some useful advice?
I did what I could for her.
Every girl he sees, it's the same thing. Nothing wrong with you.
Your blood's better than mine, he says.
And how are you doing on the rest of the report?
The animal studies I conducted showed no adverse effects from the radium. The problem, as you suspected, is one of personal hygiene only.
I can't believe someone would do something like that. Straight up lie to you like that.
Nothing surprises me. They'll do anything except the right thing.
Well, we're going to make them, Catherine. We're going to make sure someone hears about this.
I am most grateful, Dr. Flynn, but I'm particularly grateful to hear that the young lady you examined is doing much better now.
No. I didn't examine her. I merely
All the same, she's doing much better. Isn't that so?
From what I could see, she appears to be on the road to recovery.
Excellent.
Here's my statement of fees and expenses.
Mr. Lee will draw you a check.
I leave you with this one thought, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have to accept this injustice. We can use our powers as consumers to influence the practices of those who wish to profit from our patronage. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Wiley. And thanks to the New Jersey Consumers League for another job well done. This concludes our program for this evening. I don't think we have time for questions, but we hope you will join us next door for some light refreshments.
You want anything?
My throat's a little dry.
Can I help you, miss?
I'm here to see Miss Wiley.
You're not a member of the Women's Club.
No, ma'am.
Are you a guest of a member?
No, ma'am, but Miss Wiley...
Then I'm sure Miss Wiley would be happy to see you during her regular business
I'm not
hours.
leaving till I see Miss Wiley.
Oh, it's okay, Miss Middleton. It's fine. You're Miss Fryer?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Young at the health department said I should come talk to you. I know I should have stopped by your office, but I missed a lot of work and I don't want to miss no more.
No need to apologize. Please, take a seat.
Catherine and I wrote to the company about our troubles, but we didn't hear nothing. So then we went to talk to a couple lawyers, but they said they couldn't do anything either, since it's been so long since we left the radium plant. Something about the law won't allow it.
The statute of limitations.
Right. And one lawyer, he said he'd try to sue anyhow. He wanted $1,000 up front. Everything I saved for my wedding, I already spent on doctors, dentists, and hospitals. And I still don't know what's wrong exactly. And Tom, he's my fella. He says he don't care. He wants to get married anyhow. But I just don't see what good I'd do him like this, Miss Wiley. If I could just get my compensation, I could settle my debts, and maybe I wouldn't feel like I was saddling Tom with such a burden. Sorry to rattle on at you about these things. I'm just so tired of being pushed around.
I don't blame you.
Miss Jack at the health department said I should come talk to you. She said you had, what did she say, clout?
I'd like to think so, yes. We certainly have our share of successes.
So will you help us?
Tell me, Miss Fryer, just how far are you willing to go?
Ma'am?
Suppose I do find a lawyer, someone who could take on the contingency. You wouldn't have to pay them unless you sue. Would you be willing to win?
I want my compensation.
Of course you do. Now, what if the company says, here you go, here's some money for your compensation, Miss Fryer, only you were to tell no one what you agreed to. Tell no one how we got sick.
Keep it quiet, you mean?
Yes.
That don't seem right.
It isn't right, but that's what they'll do. They'll try to buy your silence. Is that for sale, Miss Fryer?
No, ma'am, it isn't.
Good.
So, will you help us?
I think I can help you if you're willing to take some chances.
Chances?
If you could set aside your own needs just for a moment, we could put a stop to the company. We could stop them dead in their tracks.
What do I have to do?
We start by putting you on page 1.
Page 1? You wanted to talk to the newspaper?
Not just one newspaper, many, many newspapers.
But is that really necessary? All we want is for Grace to get her compensation.
Tommy, let her finish.
I understand your concerns, but this company has already proven its willingness to go to the extremes to protect itself. So we have to hit them where it hurts most. When every company in America tells your story, how poorly you're treated, how you suffered, how the company denied all responsibility. When that happens, Arthur Reader will come to the table with his hat in his hands.
All right, Miss Wiley.
I know it's a little frightening.
It's okay. Right now I'm more angry than I am scared.
Good. You hold on to that anger. Only be sure no one else sees it.
Ma'am?
Public sympathy, and the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a break for a 15-minute intermission. Thank you.
Waking up to ash and dust. I wipe my brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the chemicals. I'm breaking in, shaping up, then checking out on the prison bus. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa. I suppose we're painted red to fit right in. Whoa. I'm breaking in, shaping up, then checking out on the prison bus. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa. I'm waking up. All systems go. The sun hasn't died. Deep in my bones, straight from inside. Turn away if you could get me a drink of water, 'cause my lips are chapped and faded. Call my Aunt Marie. Help her gather all my things and bury me in all my favorite colors. My sisters and my brothers still. I will not kiss you. 'Cause the hardest part of this is leaving you. Now turn from the cable, but counting down the days to go. It's just been living, and I just hope you know that if you say goodbye today, I'd ask you to be true. 'Cause the hardest part of this is leaving you. 'Cause the hardest part of this is leaving you. Where is the moment we need it the most? You kick up the leaves and the magic is lost. And tell me your blue skies fade to gray. And tell me your passion's gone away. And I don't need no carrying on. Stand in the line just to hear the new road. You're thinking a smile with the coffee and go. And tell me your life's been way offline. You fall to pieces every time. And I don't need no carrying on. 'Cause you had a bad day, you take one down, you sing a sad song just to turn it around. You said you don't know, you tell me don't lie, you work and smile and you go for a ride. You had a bad day, you kinda don't lie, you're coming back down and you really don't mind. You had a bad day, you had a bad day. Well, you need a blue sky all the day. The point is that life had what you say. And I don't need no carrying on. Had a bad day, you're taking one down. You sing a sad song just to turn it around. You said you don't know, you tell me don't lie. You work and smile and you go for a ride. You had a bad day, you kinda don't lie. You're coming back down and you really don't mind. You had a bad day. Sometimes the system goes on the freak and the whole thing it turns out wrong. You might not make it back and you know that you could be around that's wrong. And I'm not wrong. So where was the passion when you needed the most? Oh, you and I, you pick up the leaves and the magic is lost. 'Cause you had a bad day, you take one down, you sing a sad song just to turn it around. You say you don't know, you tell me don't lie, you work and smile and you go for a ride. You had a bad day, you see what you like, and how does it feel? One more time, you had a bad day. You had a bad day. days are cold and the cards all fold, and the saints we see are all made of gold. When your dreams all fail and the wounds we hail are the worst of all, and the bloods run stale. I wanna hide the truth, I wanna shelter you, but with the beast inside, there's nowhere we can hide. No matter what we breed, we still are made of greed. This is my kingdom come, this is my kingdom come. When you pull my key, look into my eyes, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Curtains call, it's the last of all. When the lights fade out, all the sinners crawl. So they dug your grave and the masquerade will come calling out at the mess you've made. Don't wanna let you down, but I am hellbound. Oh, this is all for you. Don't wanna hide the truth. No matter what we breed, we still are made of greed. This is my kingdom come, this is my kingdom come. When you pull my key, look into my eyes, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. They say it's what you make, I say it's up to fate. It's woven in my soul, I need to let you go. Your eyes, they shine so bright, I wanna save that light. I can't escape this now unless you show me how. When you pull my key, look into my eyes, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide. Don't get too close, it's dark inside, it's where my demons hide, it's where my demons hide.
Everybody's got their demons, even wide awake or dreaming. I'm the one who ends up leaving. Make it okay. See a war, I wanna fight it. See a match, I wanna strike it. Every fire I've ignited, fade to gray. But now that I'm broken, now that you know it, caught up in a moment, can you see inside? 'Cause I've got a jet black heart, and there's a hurricane underneath it, trying to keep us apart. you see inside. 'Cause I've got a jet black heart, and there's a hurricane underneath it, trying to keep us apart. I ride with the poison pen, but these chemicals moving between us are the reason to start again. My veins is made up of mistakes. Let's forget who we are and dive into the dark as we burst into.
December 4th, 1927, Jack Younger reporting for the Newark Ledger, Newark's first source for news.
Nancy Jane Howland for the New York Graphic,
On the strange case of the Radium Girls,
who claim that they were poisoned at the hands of their employer.
and now seek their day in court.
$250,000. That's the price tag on their suffering.
$250,000.
What do you mean? Those girls are very sick.
Doctors say the Radium Girls only have a year to live.
1 year to live and 250 grand to spend. What would you do with that kind of money?
What would you do to ease your last suffering days on Earth? What would you do with $250,000?
I'd buy a wardrobe like Irene Castle's.
I'd give it all to charity.
And then I'd travel around the world, first class with all my friends.
I'd buy my wife a fur coat and a diamond the size of New Hampshire.
I'd use it to pay off my medical bills. And the second mortgage on our house. The one my father took out for my last operation.
Pretty Grace Fryer sits at home,
Suffering bravely through the entire ordeal
struggling valiantly to keep up her flag and spirits.
for the sake of her family and her friends.
It hurts to smile, but I try to smile. I know if I don't, I'll go crazy.
Tell us, Miss Fryer, how does it feel knowing you have so little time left?
I try not to think about it.
But surely it must get to you.
Knowing what you've been through.
And the company's getting fat off your labor.
And all they have to say about it is,
No comment! Don't you just want to punch somebody?
Oh, no. No, that won't do no good. Instead, I like to think about what it's going to be like after. After justice prevails. Then maybe I can do something nice for the folks. Maybe send them on a trip. They never did get no honeymoon.
What a fine example of womanhood. We in life can only aspire to bear our cross as nobly as this young girl.
Why must object to these kind of histrionics?
I had nothing to do with that, Mr. Markley.
I've been in this game a very long time, Mr. Barry. When we have to see a case like this move over the wires, I'm not so naive as to believe a placer's attorney has nothing to do with it.
What's your proposal, Mr. Markley?
$1,500 for each girl. $1,500?
That's not even a year's wages.
We find it very generous since your case won't survive the statute of limitations.
This is a case in equity.
Sir, the Chancery Court will come to a different...
The Chancery Court can't rewrite the law, and the law is clear. 2 years from the dates of injury, your clients are out of time.
2 years from the date the cause of the injury is discovered.
Very clever, Mr. Barry. Very creative. I must admire your imagination, but you have a long way to go before you can convince a judge.
And in the meantime, the press will be very interested in the company's complete indifference to its workers.
No doubt. The press will have a great time at the Consumers League, and you accuse us of exploiting these girls.
You guys are the ones hiding behind the statute of limitations.
Hiding?
You know fully well the law never expected a case like this. These girls were dying years before anyone knew the cause.
Before anyone knew. Does that include the U.S. Radium Corporation, Miss Wiley? When, or should I say if, this case goes to trial, I hope that is your opening argument, Mr. Barry. You're the mayor of defense. See you at the hearing.
The arrogance of that man.
Tell me again the purpose of these articles, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy. That's the engine of reform.
You are antagonizing the company.
And the strategy's working.
And what about the girls? How does it help them to read a dozen different newspapers how they have so little time to live?
Mr. Barry, surely you can see the U.S. Radium Corporation cares nothing about the girls it's poisoned, but the average housewife in Orange cares very deeply, and so do millions of other women. These girls shop, they buy watches. Martin can be as smug as he wants, but the Consumers League will come down to one conclusion, and that's why he was here today.
I hope you're right.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. Wait and see.
Constitution, and I'm willing to offer you a solution. Venacine, a wonder tonic made from all natural ingredients. Venacine will restore your health and vitality. We're willing to offer you girls a lifetime supply in exchange for the exclusive rights to use your pictures in our advertisements.
Dear girl, read about you in the Villains Gazette. Run a 100-head cattle up here and I do very well for myself. I've always longed for a companion. I'm well equipped to offer you a comfortable home in your final hours. A girl like you has been through so much. Don't you think you deserve a few fleeting hours of happiness? Sincerely, your admirer, Mr. Leonard F. Watkins. P.S. Encloses my picture.
Look, Catherine, this man actually sent a picture. Catherine?
Bleeding again.
Shall I get the nurse?
It did this before. It'll stop.
Maybe we should go.
No, don't go.
Don't you need to sleep?
Who can sleep? I never sleep.
Well, you'll sleep tomorrow.
Yeah, might not wake up.
Of course you'll wake up.
Not if it don't go well. Sometimes you don't come out of it so good. My mother's cousin, she went to the hospital for her appendix. She never came home again.
Well, you just can't think that way, that's all. Look at this mail. Miss Wiley said people would be on our side, and she sure was right. This one's from California.
What if we don't win?
Of course we'll win.
But what if we don't? My father will lose his house. We'll be on the streets. You'll be on the streets too. Your father must owe thousands. And you and Tom, you won't never get married. How can you stand it, Grace? How can Tom stand it? Don't you ever wonder? I don't never hear him complain.
Catherine, as soon as the judge hears our testimony, he's going to rule for us. It'll be over in a day.
You think so?
Sure. Once they see what kind of shape we're in, we'd be awful hard to ignore, don't you think?
That'll be something then, won't it? To see the look on readers' faces as we get on the stand.
Now, want to read some more letters?
They didn't have no vanilla, so I got chocolate.
Took you long enough.
Hey, don't be after me. I had 6 people stop me on the way here. All of them reporters asking after you.
Waiting for me to die.
No one's waiting for you to die.
It's true. One of them called my mother and asked if I had died, but when she said no, he sounded disappointed.
Eat some of this. You'll feel better.
Evening, girls. How about a picture?
Hello, Mike. What are you doing?
We need some pictures for the graphics exclusive on the girls.
Exclusive? What are you talking about?
$5,000. That's what I'm talking about. What do you say, Grace? That sound good to you? Think you could use $5,000?
I don't understand.
Well, perhaps you're familiar with Bernard McFadden.
Who, that faith healer?
Herbalist, Mr. Kreider. Herbalist. Bernard McFadden's patented herbal therapy is just the thing to get these girls back up on their feet, and the graphic will pay for it. The only thing we ask is your exclusive rights to your story from here on out. See for yourself.
You want to pay us to go see Bernard McFadden?
Easy money.
Let me see that.
They're serious, Grace.
The graphic always does business on the up and up.
I don't know.
Grace, what does your father own the house?
I don't know exactly.
And that last medical bill had to be $100 at least.
At least.
Maybe we should think about this.
And all we do is talk to this herbalist fella?
Well, of course we'll have to get our money's worth with a regular series of features with pictures following the treatment, your illness, and your recovery. Or otherwise, depending on how it all goes.
And then you print whatever you want.
Maybe we'll add some color. Everybody adds color.
That don't sound so bad.
Maybe. We should talk to Miss Wiley about this.
Miss Wiley, what's it to her? You're the one with the bills to pay.
Don't seem right to do something like this without talking to Miss Wiley.
Oh, come on, Grace. You are a big girl. Can't you make your own decisions?
Of course I can make my own decisions.
You would take it if it came from the company.
The company owes us a lot more than that.
You have to see it.
Grace, maybe we should do it.
Grace, you're going to talk to those reporters anyhow. Why not get something out of it?
He's right, you know. You girls could cash in big, believe me. And why give your story away when people are crazy to read it? The day we ran that first feature on you, bang! Sold out every copy at every newsstand because everybody can sympathize with the plight of some poor, sick, dying girl with no hope of fulfillment in motherhood.
I'd like you to go now. My friend is tired. She needs her rest.
Well, Grace, at least think about it.
Sure, think it over. I know you're worried about what people will say, but you gotta look out for yourselves here because there's no reason you girls shouldn't at least get a little something out of this. And everybody else is already out to get what they can, for sure. So look out for number one. That's the way. And why sit back and keep your noses clean when everybody else is already up until their elbows in it?
Gentlemen, I've treated a number of the girls who claim they got sick here. One of them, her jaw had rotted so bad, I could remove it simply by lifting it out of the mouth. As you can see.
That's okay, Dr. Neff. You can put that away.
Maybe try to look at the x-ray. This was an expensive case and I never did get no compensation. The girl died and the family never paid.
I sympathize, Dr. Neff, but what does that have to do with us?
Well, here it is straight. There's going to be a lot more girls coming out claiming they got sick here, so maybe we can do business. I scratch your back and you scratch mine. That sort of thing.
I'm not following you.
Suppose you was to give me a list of the girls' names who got sick here. I would see that there were no more lawsuits.
You think you can cure them?
I'm going to put out a cure. No, I'm saying I scratch your back and you scratch mine.
How so, Dr. Neff?
I'd examine them for radium necrosis and then come up with a favorable diagnosis. Pyorrhea, say, or something else. Most of the girls will die a natural death anyway. The rest we can put off until the statute of limitations kicks in and it's too late to sue.
So you're persuaded they haven't got a case against the company?
Exactly right. And if it did come to court, I would testify that it was some other problem. It would be a strong testimony coming from the dentist who treated them.
Exactly what are you asking for, Dr. Neff?
I need $10,000 for my trouble so far. $2 for every visit, plus expenses for x-rays. I'm suggesting a gentleman's agreement here. Better off it's not in writing.
No.
All right, we'll put it in writing.
We'll do nothing of the kind. Your proposal's immoral and will have nothing to do with it.
Immoral? You say you're a fine one to be talking about morals.
Mr.
Once you get your own high guns ready to testify.
Those are expert witnesses.
Expert witnesses. Paid lackeys is more like it, and none of them's got the dirt I got. If you're smart, you'll play ball with me. Believe me, there's plenty of other folks interested in the information.
You're threatening me.
Just a business proposition, Mr. Reader. Look out for my interests, same way you look after yours.
Mr. Lee, see Dr. Neff to the door.
All right, you don't want to play ball with me? Fine. But believe me, when this all shakes out, I won't be the one holding the short end of the stick.
Gentlemen, I want you all to make statements on what happened here this morning. And we'll send it to the State Dental Society. Then Dr. Neff will see who's playing ball and who isn't.
An excellent idea. I don't know. Perhaps we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss Dr. Neff's proposal.
What do you mean?
We're in a very bad situation here, Mr. Reader.
That's true. Mr. Lee says they're having trouble getting girls to work here.
Yes, and we lost some contracts because of it.
It's going to get worse.
The papers are full of stories about these girls.
Making them out to be saints.
And what defense can we put out?
Only that we can try our case in court?
In the court of the public opinion, we've already lost.
Perhaps we should reconsider. It certainly wouldn't hurt having a testimony from the dentist who treated those girls.
Dr. Neff could be very helpful to us. We should retain him.
Retain him? As what? An extortionist?
As an expert.
Like Dr. Flynn.
Flynn is a highly respected professor at Columbia University. Neff is a neighborhood dentist.
But Dr. Neff treated some of those girls, didn't he?
He didn't treat them. He consulted with them.
He dispensed medical advice, Arthur.
It wasn't medical advice. It was an expert opinion. A scientific opinion.
How about this? We retain Neff, but we don't put him on the stand. Just to keep him from testifying for the women.
That's the most important thing.
I agree. That is the most important thing.
Would you agree to something like that, Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader?
Edward, we can't possibly do this. We can't get into bed with a man like Neff.
Arthur's right. We can't do business with a man like Neff. Neff could hurt us. We have to take steps.
Dr. Neff has already given us everything we need. Evidence, gentlemen. This is grounds for postponement.
3 months. 3 months to study an X-ray. It's outrageous. And the girls. Did you see the girls? Her eyes are like saucers looking at me. Terrified.
Mr. Barry.
How do they expect us to wait another 3 months? One of the girls was so ill she couldn't appear in court today. And Grace? She was trying so hard not to cry. And of course I had all the answers. Go home, get some rest. That's the best I can do, get some rest.
You're doing wonderfully, Mr. Barry. It's a difficult case.
I don't understand men like Marco. And Reader? How can you play this kind of game with the poor girl sitting right there?
Maybe this will help. I've received a letter.
You'd think the company would be happy to take care of this, considering the bad publicity it's gotten. But Reader seems to enjoy the sport of it, we can get away with. It's cold. Very cold.
Mr. Barry.
What's this?
It's from Catherine Drinker, Mrs. Cecil Drinker of Harvard. She's an industrial hygienist too, and she worked with Dr. Drinker's study of the radium plant. It was a joint effort, actually.
That's very interesting, but we've already seen this document. There's nothing in it to help us.
You've only seen part of it, Mr. Barry. Please, this is a complete report. I received it this morning. Catherine Drinker has been following our case very closely in the papers and was particularly disturbed to read in the last article of the Ledger, the one where Lee says her study clears the plant.
He doctored the report. Reader doctored the report.
Apparently he pulled out one page listing the blood conditions of dozens of employees and passed off as the whole thing. It doesn't seem so bad on itself, but in context, it's a somewhat different picture.
We can use this.
Yeah, it should impress the judge.
The judge? Miss Wiley, I'm not going to wait 3 months to make use of this. I want you to call that contact of yours at the New York World. If Reader won't let us present our evidence in the courtroom, then he can read about it in the newspaper.
Jack Younger reporting for the New York Ledger.
Nancy Jane Howland for the Graphic.
Radium Girls go to court today.
Radium Girls knock at the doors of justice. Will they be heard?
These poor, injured girls face pain,
disfigurement,
ruin,
and death as the clock ticks away on these precious moments.
The hearing begins in the Chancery Court,
where the U.S. Radium Corporation demands a postponement.
Well, plaintiff's attorney Raymond Berry makes a shocking disclosure
that the company lied to the Department of Labor,
showing that it distorted the effects of a Harvard study,
concealing all ill effects of its products.
Read all about it in the Ledger.
Read all about it in the Graphic. We care because you care.
Very bad?
You didn't read it.
I make a point not to these days.
If only other people would do the same. Mrs. Mitchell from across the street walked right past me this morning, didn't say a word. I know she saw me. And the woman at the market, the green grocer, the way they glanced at each other, Mrs. Mills and the other ladies at the club, the whispers.
Why don't you put that away? Read the journal. I saw it here the other day. Why don't you read that?
At the club today, someone actually had the nerve to ask me, "Is it true? Is it true?" she said. "Did your husband poison those women?" I said, "Mrs. Cowles, if you believe it is true, then why would you speak to me at all? I certainly would not associate with someone whose husband has done such things."
Why do you go there then, if that's the way people are?
I've been a member for years.
What do you want me to say? but we're making too much money to quit. Is that what you want me to say?
I certainly would not want you to say such a thing.
Even if it were true. Especially if it were true.
Is it true?
Is that what you think?
What would you like me to think?
For God's sake, Diane, don't you see what's going on? It's bound to
Shocky. He's feeding information to the Consumers League and trying to railroad us.
What about the Consumers League?
Bunch of radical women do-gooders. Half of them are reds, probably. Socialist. That's what they are. Same thing with that club you belong to.
What?
You women think you go around and fix the world's problems, let our husbands and go out and make a living? You're gonna quit that club.
Quit the club?
And stop talking to that idiot Mrs. Milton.
You're not making
You women
any
don't know
sense.
anything. You don't know anything.
Did you lie to the Department of Labor?
What?
Did you lie?
I didn't lie. I just didn't agree with drinkers' results.
Arthur,
I have a fiduciary duty to the company.
I can't listen to this.
I have documents. I have articles. People with the tumors the size of baseballs, mild radium therapy. The tumors disappear.
I'm tired. I'm going upstairs.
Mild radium therapy. Invalids. Diane, you don't really think I'm a liar, do you? You don't really think I would set out to poison people?
No.
Do you think I'd ever do anything to hurt you or to hurt Harriet?
Certainly not.
Then?
13 girls have died.
People die every day. The newspaper are full of death notices. Young, old, infants, children younger than Harriet die every day.
But they worked for you!
And they also worked other places. I have a document from someone in Columbia University, just like Drinker, who says there's no connection between our plant and these illnesses. Would you like to see the report?
Then what could the cause be?
I don't know, Diane. I don't know. I've done everything I could to find out, but I don't know. Please tell me you believe me. If you don't believe me, then there's no point to anything.
Hardy,
You know everything I've done has been for you, right?
I know.
Don't let that be another reporter.
Is that Miss...
For God's sake, Charlie.
I just got off the phone with someone from the Ledger.
This couldn't wait till morning?
I'm sorry, good evening.
Mr. Lee?
It's Dr. Lehman.
Dan?
He's dead. Arthur.
What?
He died this morning.
That's not possible. I just saw him last week.
He was just here a month ago for cards. They were just here.
Marlon's already done an autopsy. He says it was a severe anemia.
He's blaming the radium?
I told the Ledger we run it on page 1. I told him we'd issue a statement by 8 o'clock so I can run it tomorrow.
Where are the services?
Sorry?
The services.
I don't know.
We'll send flowers. Diane?
Of course, I'll call Louise.
Yes, call Louise.
We should go over and see her. Poor Louise. I should go over and see her right now.
I wouldn't do that.
Why ever not?
She's planning to sue.
Louise?
She wants to file a wrongful death action. I've already issued up a statement for the paper. Company chemist for 8 years, always in poor health, recently in decline.
But Dan was never sickly. He was always on the golf course or sailing or their garden already. They kept a beautiful garden.
Let's talk about this in the morning, Charlie.
Of course. Sorry to bring the bad news, Mrs. Reader. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Lee.
Lee can be a bit excessive at times. I've got to say something. I don't know what I'll say, but I've got to say something.
It's all right. You needn't explain.
Sometimes you must.
It's all right. You needn't explain. You're going to throw this away now.
There's half the case under the sink.
And we'll get rid of that too. There'll be no more of it in the house.
I'll do it. Diane, I'm far too into quit.
I really didn't expect you to.
February 21st, 1928. To Mr. Raymond Berry. From Dr. Harrison Marlin, Medical Examiner, Essex County. We have recently examined the remains of the deceased Amalia Maja. Our study reveals the following. Radioactive substances have been found in large quantities in the upper jaw, the lower jaw, and the lumbar vertebrae. No evidence of syphilis was found.
Body is radioactive!
Bones are dead, girl! Kick off gamma rays!
Professor Why of the Consumers League declares new evidence shows company-wide.
Dr. Joseph Neff, a Newark dentist who treated Amalia, has turned over portions of the jawbone that he removed from her mouth. This X-ray film shows that the jawbone is still radioactive 5 years after the girl died.
Will this make a case?
Will this force a settlement?
Make our case? No, this gentleman will make our case.
Last night in a graphic exclusive, the U.S. Radium Corporation founder broke his long silence with this shocking announcement.
Radium is one of the most dangerous substances in the world.
Dr. von Shashaki, is it true you assisted with the autopsy?
Yeah, and given my expertise in radium extraction, I was able to determine that Miss Maja had absorbed enough radium to kill 10 people.
Doctor, what is a safe and mild radium therapy? Are you now advising against it?
Radium is the cause of death for these poor girls. It should be considered a most dangerous substance.
So you agree with the doctor's prognosis? That the Radium Girls only have a year to live?
From what I have seen, they will be lucky to last that long.
We should have talked to that reporter when we had the chance. That's what we should have done.
$5,000. Don't make me laugh.
We should have talked her up too, because I'll tell you what, they'd have paid, and I'll tell you what else we should have done.
Stop telling me what we should have done. Should have done a lot of things. Don't do no good to think about them now.
All right, keep your shirt on.
So what do you think? Red or blue?
So what's Barry say? Is he going to try and talk to the company?
I like the red, but it don't fit so good these days.
He's going to try and talk the company up a bit?
Miss Wiley says one more interview should do the job, so I say, what's one more, you know?
It's worth a shot, don't you think? What if they brought it to $5,000? Would you take it then?
Let them come up. I'm not caving in.
It's called a settlement.
A settlement. It's just a way for them to hide.
Let them hide.
Then they win.
So they win. They're going to win anyways.
Nice. You got so much confidence in me.
Christ's sake, Grace, you got one lawyer working for nothing up against 6 other lawyers who are getting a bundle, and you think you got a chance?
You know what I heard? They put lead screens in the laboratory for the technicians. You think they'd give us lead screens?
Oh, Jesus.
What, 100 girls in a room and they're going to spend that kind of money on us?
Grace.
And they want to keep it all quiet.
What are we doing here, Grace?
And Miss Wiley says they're going to shut down here and move across the river to New York to build a new factory like nothing ever happened.
What are we doing here, Grace? I thought the idea was that you get some money, settle your debts, get a better doctor, and we get on with things.
Get on with things.
You're still wearing my ring.
Oh, Tommy.
Grace, look, there's a house for sale in my brother's neighborhood. 2 rooms up, 2 rooms down. It's not much, but it's a start. It's even got flowered wallpaper. You'd like it. And best of all, it's only $3 in the school.
School? What do we need with a school?
Plan ahead for once.
What do you think's going to happen after all this is over, Tommy? You think it's just going to go back to the way it was?
Why wouldn't it?
I got to see the surgeon again.
Huh?
I've got some fluid. He's going to drain it.
Okay.
And then he says there'll be more.
So we deal with him when the time comes.
And more! And more! And still more! Why can't you see that? How can you talk about buying houses and getting married when you know there's nothing?
Grace, I can't think about that. I just want to be together for now. I want to come home to you at night. My wife, my home. I can't be living like this in-between life. Grace, believe me, I'll do whatever it takes to make it easy for you.
Here.
Grace, come on.
I should have given it back a long time ago.
I don't want it.
Come on, Tommy. You really going to make me say it?
Grace, you're just not getting enough sleep. That's all. You just need some rest. I'll come back to see you tomorrow.
Tommy!
You get some sleep.
Tommy! Don't you do this to me! Tommy!
Arthur?
Charlie.
Aren't you headed home?
Charlie, I've been thinking. I think we're taking the wrong approach here. We should try to settle this case. Come up with a figure this girls can accept.
No, Arthur, we agreed. We need a definitive victory. Otherwise, we invite more of the same nonsense.
Things have changed.
Arthur, I know you and Dan were close, but you can't let that cloud your judgment.
Von Sashaki's gonna testify.
We can deal with him.
How?
Put my money in his pocket.
Now you want to bribe him?
Not bribe, consideration.
Consideration.
For an extra witness. Whatever Barry is paying him, just make him a better offer.
You don't understand guilt, do you, Charlie?
Right now, I don't have the luxury of thinking about it.
Let me tell you something, Charlie. A guilty man has such enormous need to unburden himself. That guilt can eat him alive. Don't you see what Von Sashaki wants? What he wants is to be free. That's why he's going to testify for the girls, and that's why he won't testify for us.
Settle with these girls, and you'll settle with all the rest. Neff was right. This is only the beginning.
Tell Markley to get in touch with Barry. Get a conversation going. Come up with a figure.
For God's sake, Arthur, what are you trying to do to me? You're trying to wipe me out?
We've got to get this off the table.
Every penny I put by in the last several years so get to this company. Why? Because of you. Because you said it was short chance. Why work for Von Sashaki when we can work for ourselves? Remember that one, Arthur? Take a chance, Charlie. Take a chance.
We were fooled, Charlie. We were fooled. Von Sashaki fooled us all. All we can do now is clean it up the best we can.
Do this, Arthur, and it's the end.
Well?
Haven't you heard? They're one vote away of getting rid of you.
And whose vote is that?
Arthur, have you so little faith in me?
I'm still a shareholder. You don't have enough votes to get me off the board. I'll still be on the board.
It's still on the hook if this company goes under. Think about that the next time your consciousness starts to bother you.
March 15th, 1928, to Mr. Raymond Barry, U.S. Attorney. From Mr. Edward Markley, Counsel, U.S. Radium. One of our expert witnesses will not be able to attend this hearing due to unforeseen circumstances. Therefore, we have requested a extension until July. And as for your request for a settlement, every case has some humanitarian aspect, so I'm afraid that will not be the case for settling this one. But I digress. Your work will be rewarded, if not in this world, then the next.
Tommy, please.
Rise and shine!
Madam Curie?
Time for work.
Oh, am I late? I set the alarm.
Give $5,000 people for breakfast. Up, it's all for your efforts.
Please, I'm so very tired.
No complaining, good soldiers don't complain.
But I'm dying.
And who isn't?
Irene.
Get up, you sleepyhead. You'll never make quota like this.
But it's not fair. I'm 26. I should have a job, a family, my own home.
We all have to make sacrifices sometimes. I know I did.
But why? Why do we have to make sacrifices?
It's all for science, Grace.
Science, family. Every life is sacrificed to something. Just a matter of choosing which.
But I didn't choose. I didn't have no choice.
Sure you did, Grace. Sure you did.
Catherine?
Oh, now look what you did, Grace. She's bleeding all over the dials.
I'm sorry, Catherine.
No problem. That's one more dead dial painter.
Huh? Mama.
Grace, Mr. Markley will be here any minute. Did you fall asleep?
Mr. Markley?
He's coming by for you to sign them papers. You need to do something with that hair.
Has Miss Wiley been by?
Miss Wiley?
About Catherine. She said she'd come by. Did she come by?
She might have.
Don't you know?
Somebody came by the door earlier. I think your brother answered it. I don't know. Look, Grace, you gotta get ready.
They took Catherine back to the hospital last night.
I know, dear, I know. And once you sign them papers, we'll go by and see how she is. You gotta do something about that hair.
I dreamt she died.
Grace, don't speak of such things.
If she dies, it's over.
We are 3 months behind on the mortgage, Grace.
I know that.
You can't let this go on.
$1,500. Not even a year's wages.
Well, it's better than nothing, ain't it?
Is that all I'm worth? Better than nothing?
Of course not, sweetheart, but look, you have got to be realistic. At the rate things are going, you'll never get inside that courtroom, and even if you do, you can't prove nothing.
Mr. Barry thinks we can.
Well, Mr. Barry ain't the one with the bills to pay. There's the doctor and the bank and the coalman and... Look, Grace, you can't keep expecting folks to treat us like charity just because you're sick.
I'm not asking for charity, Ma. I just want what's owed to me.
Look, sweetie, I know that you're worried about letting Catherine down, but if she were to take that company's check, would you hold it against her? No, you wouldn't. So we're going to take that check and we're going to pay off all the bills. And whatever is left, you and Tommy can have a little something to get you two started.
Nothing to start, Ma.
Why do you have to be so hard on Tommy?
Please don't.
Can't you see he just can't stand the fact of you not being with us?
I have to face it. Why can't he?
Do something with that hair, Grace.
$250,000. What would you do with $250,000, Miss Fryer? Why? Can't imagine. No point to it. Ma, you didn't tell me we had mail. New Mexico. Huh. They just keep on writing. Miss Wiley was here. Ma, Miss Wiley was here this morning. She left a note.
Miss Fryer. Edward Markley.
Ma said you brought papers?
Yep. Everything's explained as it was in our letter. $1,500 to you. Check's right there. All we need is your signature. It's in triplicate.
Grace, Mr. Markley is a very busy man.
Oh, no, please. Take your time. Look over the papers. I can come back tomorrow if you need.
No, we will do this now.
What's hold harmless?
You agree to hold the company harmless from any further action.
No more lawsuits.
Yes.
Is that just me or anyone else in my family?
Everyone else in your family. It precludes the wrongful death action, too.
Says this settlement's confidential.
Correct.
No one said anything about it being confidential.
That's standard with most legal procedures, Miss Fryer. We like to keep our privacy, and yours also. You keep quiet about the terms of the settlement, and so do we.
And that seems fair.
Need a pen?
I have another question.
Grace, Mr. Markley already explained that settlement to you.
I don't mind.
What's contributory negligence? It's not in these papers. It's in the other ones we filed when we did the lawsuit. It says the company's defense was the statute of limitations and contributory negligence.
I don't understand your question, Miss Fryer.
It means it's our fault, don't it?
It's a standard defense, Miss Fryer. I wouldn't take it too personally.
How else should I take it?
Mr. Markley, Grace has had a terrible headache all day. If you'll just leave
Maybe he can just answer the question.
Why are you doing this?
Why didn't you tell me Miss Wiley came by?
Because you already made up your mind. If she came by, she'd only try and change it.
What did she say about Catherine?
Mr. Markley, if you'll just
What did she say about Catherine?
She said, it don't look too good.
Maybe I should come back later when Miss Fryer's feeling better.
You didn't answer my question, Mr. Markley. And I'd really like an answer. Because let me tell you, I quit school at 15. I went to work at the radium plant because my folks needed the money. At your factory, they told us what to do, when to do, how to do it. My folks didn't raise me to make trouble, so I didn't make trouble. I did as I was told. How do you get contributory negligence out of that?
As I said, Miss Fryer, it's a standard offense.
There's nothing standard about what happened to me.
I'm very sorry about your circumstances, but there is no possible way we can do anything about it from the U.S. Radium Corporation's side.
Then why are you giving us all this money?
It's a humanitarian gesture.
A humanitarian gesture?
Mr. Markley, I will take the
Humanitarian! Month after month you put us off. Delay after delay. Knowing how sick we were. How tired and desperate. Humanitarian! You're just waiting for us to die.
Miss Fryer, this is a very gracious gift from the company. I would advise you take it, as it won't be on the table for very long.
What do you mean?
If Miss Fryer does not sign the agreement within 24 hours, we will be forced to withdraw it. Permanently.
Grace!
He's lying.
I beg your pardon, miss.
You're telling me if I don't sign these now, but I come back a week from now saying I changed my mind, you'd still rather go to court? You'd still rather some judge get a good look at me and take your chances I won't win on sympathy alone? 24 hours. You're just trying to bully me.
Very well, Miss Fryer. I'll take that as a no. And we'll see you in court.
Yes, you will. You will see me. Even if they have to carry me in there, you will see me. You and Mr. Reeder both.
You call that man!
I'm going to court, Ma.
Why? What are you trying to prove? You know that you can't win.
I want them to look at me. I want them to look at me and tell me how it's my fault I got sick working in their factory.
And what will that get you? What?
Ma, all my life I've done what other people told me to do. I quit school because you said I should. I put that brush in my mouth because Mrs. McNeil said I should. I never argued. Even though I knew, Ma, I knew something wasn't right. At night when I'd see my dress hanging on the back of the closet door, all aglow, my shoes on the floor, my hairbrush and comb on the counter. So much light, Ma, so much light. And I never once questioned. I never once asked. Can't you see? They knew I wouldn't. That's what they were counting on.
Arthur! I left messages with your housekeeper. I know you got the messages.
As we are no longer in business together, I thought it best not to respond.
Is that what this is about?
Perhaps a cup of tea would calm your nerves.
You never told us this paint was dangerous. You never said a
Word about it. Not to me, not to Dan.
I didn't know.
No, Arthur. You invented the paint and you didn't know? How could you lie like that?
I didn't know until it was too late, Arthur.
I should punch you through that wall.
Perhaps you should, but you will not. You will sit down, you will have some tea, and you will calm yourself.
I was not the technical man. You were the technical man.
Yeah, I was the technical man. Sit down, Arthur.
I sold watches, for Christ's sake. I was a salesman.
You were a salesman. Very good head for the business you had. Not such a good head for the science, but for the business, very good. You know how to cut costs without cutting the quality. That is a gift, Arthur. Now you will sit down and you will have some tea.
Jesus Christ. What's the matter with your hands?
They have been like this for some time.
What, have you been dipping them in ink?
Oh, Arthur, so fond of the pretty story you are. No, Dr. Martin tells me it's in the process of the tissue. The cells, they are dying. With the diary painters, it started in their jaws. With me, and their hands.
I didn't know.
No reason for you to know. I haven't seen you in a while.
How long?
But it's no problem. Miss Wiley from the Consumers League persuaded me to help Dr. Watland with some of the tests on the girls. As you know, there's not a lot of people around with the equipment and, of course, the experience. I wanted to prove to her, Arthur. I wanted to prove to myself that it wasn't my paint who got the girls absolutely sick. I wanted to prove to them that it wasn't me, wasn't my fault. That is when we conducted the expired air tests on the girls. And that is when I found out, when my own breath turned out radioactive. And then my hands went black to the knuckle. And now you wish to have words with me?
I'm sorry.
Maybe you yourself should book an appointment with Dr. Martland.
Me? What for?
Oh, Arthur. Don't tell me you didn't see the glowing dust on your shoe when you left at night.
How could I miss it? I tracked it all over the house.
You should now be assured that most of that is now in your lungs. Look familiar?
It's our promotional piece.
An excellent promotional piece. How many new sales did that book account for?
I never really tracked it. I like to think it helped with our medical market quite a bit.
Page 96.
What?
Page 96, in the book. Could you read it for me?
The last chapter. Radium. Dangerous effects.
Dangerous effects. How many articles are in this chapter? 10? 15?
About 18, it looks like.
What is the date on that first one there?
I don't know.
Arthur, please read it to me.
1906.
1906. Let me see. You are going to go into court tomorrow, and you are going to persuade yourself that you had no idea that the radium was poisonous. How are you going to do that, Arthur? When your own book tells you that the radium was poisonous, how are you going to do that, Arthur?
I never actually read the book.
Say that again?
I just glanced through the galleries. I never actually read the book.
Oh, do you mean you never read the book?
It was a standard arrangement. An outside company would put the piece together. They were responsible for the contents.
Which you never read.
I'll have you find, Mr. Barry, that very few company presidents read their own promotions word for word.
It has your name on it, you authorized the book's release, and you had final approval of the content.
Mr. Lee was responsible for our promotional efforts at the time. I entrusted those activities to him.
Mr. Reader, you testified that you began working at the company in 1918. Is that correct?
Yes, as a plant manager.
And you held this position for how long?
4 years.
4 years. And how often did you venture into the studio?
Every day.
Every day. So you must have seen the girls pointing to brushes on their lips.
I don't recall.
You don't recall? What do you recall, Mr. Reader? You're an awfully young man to have such a spotty memory.
I said objection!
I withdraw. No more questions.
Your witness, Mr. Markley?
We have no questions for the witness at this time, Your Honor.
All right, gentlemen, please approach. May I issue my ruling?
Your Honor, we have yet to present our defense.
I realize that, Mr. Markley, but this proceeding is to determine standing. Now, I've had enough these past 2 days to make that determination. The radium in these girls' bones has been an ongoing source of poison in their systems for quite some time now. Nothing a witness can say will change that fact, will it?
All witnesses are prepared to testify at the edges of the company, Your Honor.
Mr. Markley, in the interest of justice, I'm asking that the defense rest without calling forth any witness. We can conclude this hearing today and schedule the case for trial.
All right, Your Honor.
Fine. I therefore rule that the statute of limitations has not yet been exhausted, and these girls are standing to sue.
Your Honor, I have 2 to 3 cases pending, and our chief expert witness will not be able to resume his testimony. He won't be able to come to this hearing.
Your Honor?
Your Honor, our expert witness is a part of the Institute of Higher Learning. This is the busiest time of the year for him. He won't be able to come in.
Your Honor, Mr. Markley is responsible for that situation. He's the one who has called for continuous delays.
Your Honor, you have made us waive our defense at this hearing. You wouldn't possibly make us testify without our key witness, would you?
All right, Mr. Markley. Trial is set for September. This hearing is adjourned.
Why can't Flynn appear?
He's out of the country.
But he's known about this for months. Oh, very clever, Edward. How long do you plan to keep this up?
For as long as necessary.
Mr. Markley?
Mr. Barry, I must congratulate you. I can't believe the company fell for it.
You know full well we can't wait another 3 months. One of the girls is so sick, she couldn't appear in the courtroom today.
My client has the right to make his defense.
We will not wait another 3 months. One way or another, we will find room on the docket. Your expert witness be damned.
Edward, that girl is staring at me.
I wouldn't worry about that.
How do I make her understand that I didn't want this to happen? How do I tell her?
You don't make her understand. You don't look at her. You don't talk to her.
She looks like death, Edward.
They all look like death, Arthur.
Grace? Wiley. That man. He won't look at me. He won't ever look at me. He just looks right past me like I'm not even there.
It's okay, Grace. He heard you.
June 4th, 1928. Nancy Jane Holland here for the New York Graphic.
Jack Youngwood for the Ledger.
Raymond Berry seeks trial date for early summer.
As the U.S. Radium Corporation announces a settlement.
A settlement?
$10,000 cash for each girl and $12 a week for life.
$12 a week?
Read all about it in the Ledger.
The U.S. Radium Corporation also agrees to pay the medical expenses of each girl for the remainder of her life, and each girl has agreed to a periodic examination by a panel of physicians yet to be acquainted. Questions?
What led to the settlement?
Is it admission responsibility?
What about other pending cases?
The U.S. Radium Corporation, it was purely for humanitarian reasons that the U.S. Radium Corporation agreed to the settlement. We admit no liability whatsoever.
Where does the company go from here?
The U.S. Radium Corporation is pleased to bring this lengthy litigation to a close and looks forward to many more years of serving its customers and its community. And that's C.B. Lee, President.
Captain Wiley, the New Jersey Consumers League, our press statement.
Were you pleased with this outcome, Miss Wiley?
Finally, these girls have received some compensation for their suffering, but more importantly, the issue of radium poisoning has been brought into public awareness.
Thanks, Miss Wiley.
The spelling, by the way, is Catherine with a K and Wiley with one L.
Well, Edward, looks like we're back in business.
What's your game plan, Charlie?
Didn't I tell you? I have a buyer for the tailings I've been piling up on Alden Street.
Oh?
Some contractor in Montclair needs a little infill.
That's perfect.
Now, Catherine, this won't do. I can't see your name. That's better. Well, I brought my watercolors today, Catherine. It's a beautiful day, too. The trees are starting to turn, but it's not too warm. Too warm for a sweater. Not much of a breeze. Fine day to paint.
I thought I might find you up here.
You were right.
It's quiet up here.
Yep,
I guess if you can rest in place, this is the place to do it, huh?
I guess it is.
What do you call that?
Watercolors. I'm a little weak when it comes to landscapes, though.
Oh, it's good, Grace. It's nice.
First thing I bought with the settlement money was some paint. Oils, too.
Big spender.
Then I bought a car.
I didn't know you could drive.
I can't. My brother's gonna teach me. He drove me up here today.
Grace, if you wanted to learn how to drive, I had to teach you.
Got other things to do now, Tommy.
You know about that?
Tommy, Orange just isn't that big.
I meant to tell you myself, Grace. That's why I came looking for you.
It's all right. I'm happy for you. For both of you.
So no hard feelings then?
Tommy, you really think I have time for that?
I'm glad it worked out for you, Grace. I mean, are you glad? You don't think you backed down too soon, do you?
We didn't back down. They backed down.
Papa?
This is where I saw her that last time.
Not this again.
I stood here for so long. She didn't see me at first, but something made her look up.
Oh my.
No wonder Mama won't come for drives with you anymore. If this is how you spend your Sundays.
I didn't know what I'd say to her if I had the chance. And suddenly there she was, and I had the chance.
You need to find another hobby. Retirement isn't good for you.
My heart started pounding. She was looking at me and I turned away.
It was just like the day in the courthouse. He couldn't bring himself to look at me.
So what did you say?
I couldn't bring myself to speak.
It was as if he was afraid of me.
Oh, Papa, that was years ago. Why don't you just forget about it? It's not like it was your fault. Then nobody knew about things like that. Science just wasn't as advanced the way it is now.
He was afraid of me.
I try to think back on those days, and I think how it could have been. I remember so clearly climbing those stairs to the studio on Allen Street. At the top of those stairs, those wide, high windows, the way the light hit the floor under my feet, the way the floor creaked, the smell of the place, chalky, like an old schoolroom. And those girls, Schoolgirls, really, all bent to the task in the green smocks, and their delicate little hands moving so fast. No man could work the way those girls did. So fast, so careful. Try as I might, Harriet, try as I might, I can't remember their faces. I never saw their faces.
Things to say before you guys all leave. First off, we would like to shout out and say thank you to N2 Sports for streaming our productions tonight and the rest of the nights. And then, secondly, I just want to thank you guys all again for coming. It means a lot to us that you guys could be here. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to our 50-50 raffle. The winner is the holder of ticket number 437394. Anybody with that ticket number? I can say it again. 437394. Anybody? I can't see, so if you're raising your hand. Okay, well, I guess it's going to go back to the department then. Woo! Okay, and then, so next we're going to do Minute to Give It. All of you guys are good to come on out here. So for those of you that haven't been to a production before, Minute to Give It is all of these lovely people are going to come out here and beg for your money for a minute. So if you guys would go ahead and any donations would be appreciated. Are you guys ready back there? Somebody who's ever timing it. All right, you guys are good to go? Okay, I don't know if it's been a minute, but I think we got everybody. So thank you guys again, and then Cass will be out to take pictures with you guys if you'd like. Have a great night, everybody.